Hello, my dear fellows travelers, friends, and photographers. Welcome to Christy Travel Channels. In this fifth episode of my travel journey to Pakistan, as promised, I will share with you another stretch of my journey road trips, where will be bringing us to the easternmost destination of my entire trip in the northern Pakistan. As usual, for those first time with me, this is the map of Pakistan, and we are actually covering the northernmost section of this country. Now, looking at this topography map again, you realize that we are moving more toward the eastwards now. We are almost very much closer to the border between the Pakistan and India. And over here, we are going to also encounter a historical fort or palace. At the same time, we're going to enjoy our road journey along the way. As I always say, sometimes the destination may not be the main objective of the travels, but the objective of the travel is more rather the journey along the way rather than the destinations. So let's look at this map indicating whereabout of our journey. We are moving now from the point 6, if I'm not mistaken, to point 8. In fact, we have traveled from 6 to 7, then return back to 6, and then only move on to point 8, where is a town we call Khaplu. So now we are covering the route journey from Skardu to Khaplu route journey. And Khaplu, this little town, also spelled Khaplu, and Khaplu has been called many names like Siok Valley, Ganchi, and also Little Tibet. Now, it is a city that serves as the administrative capital of Hanchi district of the Gilgit-Baltistan in the northern Pakistan. It's lying about 103 kilometers east of the city of Skardu. In other words, now you can see that we are moving much toward the eastwards to the border now of India, between India and Pakistan. Now, it guarded the trade routes to Ladakh along the short rivers east of its confluence with the Indus River. Now, the short river passing through Khaplu Valley is known as the River of Death. Now, originating from remote glaciers, flow through the northern Ladakh into the Gilgit-Baltistan, Pakistan. I'm not sure why they call the River of Death, but however, is from the name is quite frightening, right? Now, the diverse landscape of Khaplu is marked by the panoramic lakes, blossom fruit orchards, skyscraper mountains peaks, deadly glacier, and also the sparkling stream. Now, as well as the wild river. Now, hence Khaplu is a base for trekking into the Harsh Valley, which lead to the highest peak of Mashabuns, K6, K7, and Chogolisa. These are all the names given to the 8,000 mountain peaks. That means those mountain peaks that exceeded 8,000 meters in height. Now, Khaplu has several historical remains, such as a 700 years old mosque, and also a fort, right? Or rather palace, Khaplu's palace, right? So in our journey, we will only cover the Khaplu's palace due to limited time, right? But anyway, I would like you to enjoy the journey, of course, rather than the destination. At the destination at the Khaplu town, of course, we will be visiting the Khaplu Palace. So let's begin our road journey from Skardu to Khaplu. This stretch of the route journey is more interesting as the landscape are more presentful and scenic. I would like to say that it's a beautiful route journey. So you can see it from the image. Now at this point along the journey we come to these monuments, and there seems to be a monument of a bullet. Actually this is a very unique monument. It's the it's to It's a place where a war was fought. I was told that this monument was called the Togo Pari Monument, and Togo Pari is famous for its battlefield, where the last battle of the War of the Independence of Baltistan was fought, right? And under the command of the Brigadiers Fagir Singh, right, and with 350 soldiers, 400 porter and 200 horses formed the Dogra forces, and were dispatched from the Srinagar, which was actually at the south of it, to help their enemy army in the Skardu, who were then attacked by the Mujahideen. Now, interestingly, at this Tago Pari, with limited weapons, food, and supplies, the Colonel Elsan Ali, his platoon, along with the hundreds Mujahideen, another camp that fought in this battle against this army of 350 soldiers from the Brigadiers Fagir Singh, right, the commander. After the killing of 170 soldiers, the Droga force were defeated by the Mujahideen, and they had to retreat. In other words, 100 soldiers fought against 350 soldiers, and the 100 soldiers won the war. And this place is marked the happening of this war, right? So it's just a monument along the journey. So we are passing through rivers and with a side river bench full of rocks, as can be seen in this image. And also you can see there are area whereby in certain areas on the journey you found that it's almost treeless and a very remote place. And we also come across numerous well-built suspension bridge. I believe that these bridges was built fairly recently. So you can see that the scenery around this region is fascinating and also interesting to enjoy this route journey along the way. Of course, the images taken is actually true and prose over two period of time. So you can see that the temperature, the weather change during the day and at the evening and early noon time and in the early morning. It does have different view and moods shown in these pictures. In this case, this is actually definitely is an evening scene where with the setting sun, you know. And one of the very interesting during our journey is that we were told that we are going to find some very unique activity that's taking place. That is basically they call them the gem mining, right? Gem minings. So what is about the gem mining? You know, when we travel in one stretch of the journey where it is along a steep cut, river cut cliff, all right, river valley, you know, deep cut by the river, and we found that on both sides of the cliff, particularly on the one that facing the other side of the road across the river, as can be seen in this image at this particular section, right? And we noticed that actually the surface of the cliffs seem to be have two different color, a lighter color and a darker color of rocks. And we were told that actually this section of the journey there are quite a number of gem miner. And what actually happening is this. Now this gem miner are focused on those rocks layer where the color is lighter, as can be seen in this image, and they dug into this lighter color rocks layer and was claimed to be much softer, and they say they can find precious stone, you call it gem, inside. So you can find that a lot of hole were dug along this soft light color rocks layer along this stretch of journey. So you can see here now, right? There seems to be a line, a digging groove on this rock surface, right? And you can see that it runs along the profile, the light color rocks layer profile. And here I have circled to indicate there's a hole been dug into this light colors rocks layer as shown in this image and also in this image, right? So there are so many of these holes been dug along this, and we will doubt whether it's still the mining still being carried on, and we were told yes, there are miners still there. There are miners still digging into this soft layer at this moment, and then we will then show in one area that you can see abundant, many such rocks hole was dug into this cliff of this rock face, as shown in this image. Then when I managed to zoom in using camera lens to zoom in, and then you can really, you're careful enough, observe carefully enough, you will start realizing that actually, yes, it's true to say that there are still miners working at this high dangerous position, which from the dark hole to the river, it could be 100 meters above, right? So if it's not careful enough, that can fall to death, you know. So now this image will give you a clear view of, you can see there's a plastic barrel that they fill with water, and they need water to lubricate to make the digging and drilling much easier. So I'm not sure how he carried the work, but indeed this is a spot you can see that the miner is working at, you know. So anyway, it's something we realize actually they had to make a living for the locals, so they all do all sort of things, including gem mining, and therefore in this part of the town and also in this Gilgit-Baltistan, you will be able to find a precious stone seller, and they are actually getting this precious stone from this gem miner. And now we are going to visit this Khaplu Palace complex. This is another complex that has been restored and turned into a museum, and I want to share with you again. And before we go into this, let's have some background of this Khaplu Palace complex. Now this Khaplu Palace complex, it also been considered, have been changed its name to Serena Khaplu Palace Hotel. That means, in other words, this is now a hotel, you know, and just like the Siga fort itself, they also turn into a hotel, right? So Khaplu Palace, locally known for Yaguka, of the meaning the fort of Dosa, is an old fort, right, and palace located in Khaplu, in the city of Gilgit-Baltistan, North Pakistan. And the palace considered an architectural heritage site and a significant tourist attraction, and was built in the 1840, right, to replace the earlier dated fort. Khaplu Palace is considered one of the finest surviving example of a royal residence in Baltistan. And of course, you can see that you compare this Khaplu Palace is a much bigger scale as compared to the Siga fort, which I've mentioned in my last episode. Now, Khaplu Palace was built by the Yagub Raja, the Daulat Ali Khan, right, of Khaplu, under the Doga of Kashmir, who captured the region, right, decided to move the seat of the government from the old fort nearby, right? So the site of this palace was chosen by rolling large stone down from a nearby cliff, right? It stopped at the dorside village, and the palace was then built there. This is what was told, by the tour guide, And one thing to note that the main attractions of this Khaplu Palace is on the construction of the building, and also as well as the interior decoration, more particular to the wood carving. Now this palace building consists of 4 floors built with timber, mud bricks, clay and soil mortar. The structure of the palace has Tibetan, Kashmiri, Lada, Baltic, and also Central Asia in front. So you can see that actually you have quite a diverse influence from around the region. Now, a carved wooden gate that Yabgo Raja Hitim Khan took them from a fort in the Skardu after conquering most of the Baltistan was erected at the entrance of this palace. This is the first thing that welcome you. Now, the other main attraction is the wooden ceiling of the palace that is crafted with design using chisel and paint without the use of nail. You notice that in this construction of this palace, very little or rather no nail was used, or rather, if any, all would be wooden nails. So notable room of the palace include the royal meeting rooms, the royal balcony, the princess dressing rooms, and the queen rooms, right? At the same time, there's a hall that built at the topmost floor, was used as a leisure room overlooking the lawns around the palace and the Karakoram mountain range. So I will share with you all this in all the subsequent images. Now, the passage beyond the main gate, which formerly housed a stable, lead to the front launch of the palace, was used by the musicals band during festival in the range of the Yago Raja, right? So now let's look into some of the images. So now this is actually the image of this Khaplu Palace, and at the background you can see the mountain range is basically the Karakoram highway, the Karakoram mountain range. Now, one thing you have to take note that from the year 2005 to 2011, the Khaplu Palace underwent a restoration project carried out by the Aga Khan Trust for Culture under the Aga Khan Historic City Program. Now, the original building for Khaplu Palace has been converted into a boutique heritage hotel and a museum, depicting the history and the culture of Baltistan, which is operated by Serena Hotel. That's why they're giving the name Serena Khaplu Hotel, right? Now, this restoration was carried out follow a very careful design restoration strategy that allowed the location to be monetized while still maintaining, right, the historical and cultural significance. Now, following the restoration of the palace, a section of the residential area is being used as a hotel, while another area served as a museum. A similar concept took place in the Siga Fort, which I have mentioned in last episode. So the Serena Khaplu Palace Hotel, offer the guests the amenity of a 5-star hotel in a historical setting, right, between the building that date back to the 1840s, which in other words is 100 over years old, and have the option of staying in the actual room that were occupied by the Raja and Rani, the king and the queen. If you want to be the king and queen, here you are. You are given the chance to stay in this room that been occupied by the king and the queen. All right. So since operation of this hotel, it has since won the numerous awards, including the UNESCO Heritage Conservation Award. So let's go more detail of the images of these unique hotels at the same time come museum. So this is a front view. You can see that the fourth story and the highest mode is actually is like a open balcony, a room that for you to view into the lounge, which actually is a foreground of this image. So this is the actual name given. So this is some of the sign on the wall, and in this palace there's a courtyard, and that courtyard a small little open courtyard that allow ventilation and light to get into the building, right? And this at the third floor, or rather at the third layer or third floor, you can see that there is a beautiful hall. So the entire building over this section are basically the turned into a museum, but certain rooms are actually being converted into the hotels. And of course, you are not allowed to walk into those guest area, or the hotel guest area, but rather you are confined to visit between the museum area. There's numerous displays of the handicraft, the tools, the furniture, and or the kitchen utensil, thing like that are used by the king and queen on exhibit in this museum. And you can see the construction of the palace on the wall is a mixture use of the mud, stone, as well as timber. Something very similar to the Shiga Fort that we have visited during the last episode. And I would like to bring your attention to the uniqueness and the main attraction of this palace is the carving. Now, beside all these exhibits, uh, you will look at the later on the carving I'm going to share with you. You can see how intricate the carving is being done in this palace. In the lowest floor of the palace, there's an underground cell, and the cell was used to store foodstuff. And at the same time, in certain section, the cell had turned into a jail, a lockout room. Alright? So there still have quite a fair bit of exhibits, correspondence documents that passed down over the years. Here you can start to expose to the intricate wood carving. And we were told that this wood carving come from different era, and as mentioned earlier, under the influence of the culture in the surrounding regions, thus the carving is different from era to era. And of course, now come to the main attraction, that is the ceiling woodwork. Alright, so let's have a closer view of that. The ceiling works of a different floor are different in design, and therefore what you have seen just now, the few image, are taken in different room at different floor. and as well as the door frame, the door arch, it also been extravagantly, intricately carved, as can be seen in this image. Worth mention is that all these doors in this palace are fairly low. So if you are a tall man, then when you visiting this palace, please mind your head. You can get bang your head onto the door frame above, right? So this is some of the interior woodworks that done, including the handrail, the balcony, and this is at a lower section. You can see there's a underground cell and there's passageway leading to it. So after visiting this old palace, which more than 150 years, and of course we move on to a viewpoint, and this viewpoint they call it the Eagle Nest viewpoint. They have another name. That the Eagle Nest viewpoint is also known as the Diker viewpoint, right? And it's a bit misfortunate that we do not stay, because there's a hotel, at this high above ground viewpoint, and if you were to stay there, then you have a advantage of viewing the sunrise and sunset. We don't need to go anywhere else, because it's a strategic point. The viewpoint is a strategic point to view sunrise and sunset. But unfortunately, our hotel stay is not at this point, so we have to drive our way there. And we missed the sunset in a way, because by the time we'll be reaching there, there's still a small distance to trek to the actual viewpoint. And in that evening during our visit was extremely windy and cold. And also I realized that we already missed the golden time of taking the sunset. Alright, so I did not really trek up to the actual viewpoint, but instead I was actually went into the hotel where at the balcony of the hotel I have a view of this beautiful town, right? Khaplu town, right? So these are some of the images taken at the hotel balcony. If I'm not mistaken, the hotel, the name of this hotel is called Eagle Nest Hotel. The hotel rate is fairly reasonable, and the front desk welcomed me and invite me to do a visit to the hotel rooms. And this hotel room was facing the valley, beautifully constructed. And we went into one of the executive rooms, as can be seen in this image. The interior decoration is fantastic and nice. So if you would have an opportunity to plan for your own trip, I would suggest that you put a night stay in the Eagle Nest Hotel. The only thing is that this Eagle Nest Hotel is a distance away from the Khaplu town. If you want to visit Khaplu town, you need to take a transport down, right? And up, back, through and fro, you need a transport. But if you are interested in scenery and you're not doing much shopping, you just want to enjoy the scenery and a nice view and a nice stay, this could be one of the best places to stay in Khaplu. Alright, so this ends my today travelogues on my journey to Khaplu from Skardu, from Skardu to Khaplu, and I hope that in the next episode I will be able to see you again, because in the next episode we are really moved into the Hunza Valley, because all this valley that we are visiting itself is not fall under the Hunza Valley, because with our 21-day long excursion time, we managed to cover a much more wider area of the northern Pakistan. And what I share with you is the section of the Pakistan that less people travel, because people are more focused on Hunza Valley. But anyway, that gives you an idea of what you can expect from the eastern side of this northern Pakistan, Gilgit-Baltistan regions. Alright, so if you have not subscribing to my travel channel again, I will definitely very much please you can support my travel channel by subscribing and also share to your friend and family. At the same time, please take care. Alright, and I hope to see you again in the next episode, and bye.